Hey friends, this is the second dispatch of the Sienna sessions. We'll call this our special late night, low light edition. It's about 10 o'clock at night. It's just the first opportunity I had to get out here and record something that I could get away. So that's our special late night, low light edition. I wanted to talk about something. I've had this opportunity now. Well, I've had this conversation now with 3 different people in the last week. 3 different people who are not connected to each other in any way other than, they know me. And not only have I had this conversation 3 times last week, I've had this conversation ongoing with people for the last 10 years. And specifically because of my age and because of my position. I'm a pastor of a church. And so this topic comes up all the time in the church setting, but it also comes up all the time in any community organization that I'm involved with. Toastmasters, Lions Club, anything like that I've either been around or been a part of. This conversation happens all the time. And the topic is, why is it so hard to get young people to join these community organizations or to be a part of a church or anything like that? And so I get asked this because I am considered in these settings. A lot of times I'm considered a young person. I'm under 40, and in these organizations and in churches, that's just the de facto line for being young in today's day and age. And so I get asked this a lot. Why is it so hard? Well, I'm going to share a couple observations why I think it's hard for young people, and specifically for young parents to be involved in these community organizations. But I think these observations apply to single people who are young too. But I'm speaking from my perspective as a family guy, as a parent, and speaking on behalf of a lot of the parents that I know, young parents. Couple observations. First of all, what older people, and in this sense, I'm not trying to say old, it's not a disparaging comment, but what older folks, people who are 50, 60, 70, 80, can't comprehend is that nowadays things are they're just so different than when they were younger and they were joining community organizations. Nowadays, in two-parent families, I can almost guarantee that both parents are working full-time jobs or some combination, full-time, part-time, 2 part-time jobs for one parent with a full-time job to parent, 2 full-time jobs for both parents, 3 part-time jobs for one of the parents with a full-time, part-time job in the other. I mean, any combination you can think of. I can guarantee both parents, I can almost guarantee, 99% certainty that both parents are working in many hours. Okay, so I can so basically time is very precious. Free time especially is rare. It just doesn't happen. And the ability to spend time with your children, so much more rare now than it was back then when people were joining community organizations. It's not the same. The reality is it's not the same. And I would say it's probably the same for single people as well. They just don't have the free time that a single person back in the 50s had. They just have to work too hard, too many hours. It's just the reality. It's the economic reality of our day and age. It's not like it once was when one person in a family could work one full-time job and that take care of everything. It's not the reality. Okay, so time is very precious. That's observation 1 for young people today. It's the reality. Observation number 2 is this, that if a young person is in the organization, oftentimes their voice and their perspective is not valued in that organization the way other people's voices are, or the way somebody who's been in that organization for 20, 30 years. Right or wrong, a young person, if their voice and perspective are not valued in that organization, they're not going to stick with it. For one, if they don't feel like they have a purpose in that organization, if they feel like all they are there is just to be there as a warm body and to check mark the young person box, they're not going to stick around. Their perspective is not valued. Their voice is not valued. It's not placed on the same tier as other people's, and so they're not given as much opportunity to weigh in or to help shape the direction of that organization. And again, right or wrong, I mean, fine. If you have been in the organization for a long time and you feel like you've paid your dues and so your voice is more valuable, that's fine. If that's how you want things to be in your organization, that is absolutely fine. But do not be surprised if young people do not stick around. And the truth be told, I mean, let's be honest, you feel the exact same way as a young person would in that situation, which is because it's a human thing. It's not a generational thing. It is a human thing. We human beings, young and old, want our perspective to at least be heard, to at least be we want to feel like we at least have some purpose in that organization. That's not an age thing. That's a human being thing. And so what you want, I guarantee a young person wants to. They just want to feel like they are a valuable member of the organization, that their perspective is valued, and that they actually have a purpose for being there. Okay? So those are my two observations, and I think it fits for it can really go across the board for a lot of people. It's just time is too valuable nowadays, and if you don't feel like you have a purpose or that you're valued in that organization, why would you stick around, especially if your free time is so precious these days? Okay, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching and listening. I'd love to hear your perspective. Why do you think it is so hard for young people to get involved, or why do you think it's so hard for community organizations to get young people involved? Weigh in the comments. Let me know what you think. Appreciate it. Thanks. Bye.